Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into the absolutely fascinating world of extreme wealth. We're going to peel back that glossy, high-definition surface of billionaire living to figure out the actual financial mechanics humming underneath it all. So get ready, because we're going to look closely at how the richest people on Earth really operate on a day-to-day basis. To set this stage for us, let's hook right into a pretty provocative thought. Ask yourself this. What if I told you that some billionaires drop more cash on a single dinner than most people earn in an entire year? It's wild, right? That staggering scale of spending immediately makes us ask how on earth they fund such unbelievable extravagance. It definitely grabs your attention. But as we're about to see, it actually leads us to look at wealth in completely the wrong way. When we're talking about a $250 million lifestyle, the ones filled with private islands and mega yachts, it is incredibly easy to get distracted by the sheer scale of the numbers. But here is the real secret, and it's hiding in plain sight. The luxury isn't what makes them rich. It's the habits behind the luxury. The supercars and the private jets, those are just byproducts. To truly understand this level of wealth, we have to stop staring at the shiny objects and start unpacking the mindset. All right, let's jump right into part one, the myth of luxury and how homes act as hidden assets. So there's a critical difference that fundamentally separates how everyday people and the ultra-wealthy view the world. Society looks at these massive estates and perceives them as pure expenses, just money thrown into the wind to show off. But the reality? The wealthy view these exact same properties as highly strategic investments designed to preserve and grow their capital. They are literally playing an entirely different game than the rest of us. Let's make this a bit more tangible. Picture waking up in a mansion worth over $100 million. We're talking dozens of bedrooms, indoor cinemas, private gyms, expansive wine cellars, the whole shebang. And a lot of wealthy individuals don't just own one, they hold multiple properties globally. A penthouse in New York, a beachfront villa in Dubai, a sprawling estate in Europe. But for the billionaires acquiring these, they aren't just places to live or vacation. As one of our sources perfectly puts it, the rich don't just buy houses, they buy assets. This brilliantly illustrates the fundamental mindset shift from consumption to ownership. Prime real estate tends to increase in value over time, right? It's a massive vehicle to protect their wealth from inflation and market volatility. When they sign the deed on a multi-million-dollar villa, they aren't emptying their bank accounts. They're essentially just transferring cash into a physical, appreciating asset. Moving right along to section 2, buying the ultimate asset, or how the rich actually spend their money. We kind of assume they blow their cash just to flex, buying things solely for the designer label or the prestige. But the truth is, they spend incredibly heavily on convenience and time preservation. The biggest line items in their daily operating budgets aren't necessarily for showing off. They are literally for buying back efficiency. Let's talk about the number 100. That represents the hundreds of hours saved every single year by utilizing specific services. When a billionaire charters a private jet, they aren't just doing it to sip champagne at 30,000 feet. They are bypassing security lines, layovers, and delays, saving hundreds of hours. They hire personal assistants to manage complex schedules, financial advisors, and business managers. They are systematically wiping out the friction from their day. Because at the end of the day, the wealthy understand something that so many people completely overlook. Time is the absolute most valuable asset on the board. By purchasing convenience and delegating every possible task, they are literally buying back their time. Why? So they can relentlessly focus their energy on high-level opportunities that generate even greater financial returns. They spend money to protect their time, whereas most people spend their time trying to make a little more money. Okay, let's get into part 3, the wealth engine and those secret investments. Here's a huge takeaway. Most millionaires absolutely do not rely on a single source of income. It's a terrible risk. Instead, they build diverse, compounding streams of revenue. We're talking a mix of stocks, real estate, businesses, private investments, royalties, and sometimes even luxury assets like fine art. If one stream dries up or hits a rough patch, the others keep flowing. Their wealth is a deeply diversified, living ecosystem. Now here's where the paradigm really shifts. While most folks spend their entire lives trying to increase their salary or bump up their hourly wage, focusing entirely on income, the ultra-rich focus on ownership. They own the companies. They own the assets. And the beauty of ownership is that those assets are grinding for them around the clock, 24/7, whether they are awake, fast asleep, or on a beach somewhere. So, how do they fund all this ownership? By sticking to this beautifully simple rule: invest first, spend what's left. Instead of spending every dollar they earn and just crossing their fingers that they can invest whatever pennies remain at the end of the month, they flip the equation entirely. They prioritize the investments that will buy them more assets. And because of this incredibly disciplined habit, their wealth is allowed to compound year after year, creating a snowball effect that eventually becomes totally unstoppable. Which brings us to our final section, part 4, the ownership mindset and the daily habits that actually build this wealth. Let's bring this down to earth for a second. There are 4 highly practical daily routines documented among successful individuals that ground all these lofty billionaire concepts into everyday habits. Number 1, many wake up early and exercise to maintain the physical energy needed to execute at a high level. 2, they read books daily. 3, they continuously learn new skills, treating their own mind as their primary asset. And 4, perhaps the most critical, they structure their lives to think long-term. This question right here is an absolute game changer. How can I build wealth that lasts for decades? They do not wake up and ask, how can I make money today? By actively shifting to that long-term mindset, they change their entire perspective. They aren't looking for a quick buck or an immediate payout. They are building foundations. That simple reframing is the massive difference between temporary success and lasting generational financial freedom. So, tying it all together, from our explainer today, the true blueprint of the wealthy really boils down to 3 fundamental shifts in thinking. First, focus on assets instead of liabilities. Buy things that put money in your pocket, not things that take it out. Second, prioritize investments over expenses. Invest first, spend what's left. And third, always choose long-term growth over short-term rewards. Because the real secret isn't what they own, it's how they think. I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to challenge how you view your own spending going forward. The next time you make a financial decision, ask yourself, are you focusing on buying the appearance of wealth or the habits of ownership? The choice is entirely yours. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. Keep learning, keep growing, and I will see you next time as we continue to unpack the world's most fascinating topics.